Good. What's up, Peter?
How's everything going?
I'm still chilling my bones up from being in Indiana for a couple days.
I get it.
Why do people? I don't know why anybody lives there.
I just flew in from New York from ringing the bell. Ring that bell.
Oh, that's very fun, right?
Yeah, good stuff. All right, so I think Bobby's traveling, so he's not going to be on. Matt's there. Look at his modern office he has going there. Dennis has got a guitar behind him.
I have to get off a little early, Pete. So can I go sort of? I have to get off at 9:30. So
well, let's kick it off with you right off the bat. Let's go.
So we're talking more about open houses, right?
Correct.
Yep.
Okay. So guys, I think a really cool app. The whole key with open houses, obviously, is you have an opportunity to meet people, right? We all spend so much time, right? Especially if they're online or you got to call them. But the battle is always then getting in front of them. That's the beauty of open houses, is that you have the opportunity to build rapport. Remember, people work with people that they like, and people, everybody listens to the same radio station, which is, right, What's in it for me, WIFM. And so you have an opportunity at an open house to show you what you can do for them that's different than the other agents, to show them that you're professional and you're competent. And also you can build rapport with them, because then people are going to want to work with you, right? But you have to get their information. So we always talk about, okay, the seller requires everyone to sign in, or how do you get their information? And so honestly, I was out surfing the other day, and I was thinking, because I'm going to do a couple open houses this weekend. I was thinking, I wonder if you could use like a QR code to get people's information at an open house. And I don't know if you can do that, but I did find an app that's called Curb Hero, which I downloaded. And it's a really cool app because you can link it to the listing. It's free. You create a free property, website on their app, which I did on my phone. iPad or on your phone. I think, put it on an iPad. And basically people can sign in digitally when they come in, and it's got, and when they do that, they get something back. They're just not signing in to get nothing. They basically get a flyer on the house. So what I'm going to do at these open houses, I'm going to say, look, we've gone paperless. But if you guys want to get a flyer and all the information, and I think I'm going to have my lender do something too, you can get all the information on this house, information on current interest rates, what your payment would be, but also a full property flyer with all the photos of this listing. Just click right here, and they put in their information. It's really simple. And then you have all their information, and then you can even put in some questions. So I put in a question, which is, it's a yes or no question. Have you signed an exclusive buyer's agreement with an agent, with a real estate agent? Yes or no? And they're mostly, of course, going to say no. Now I have all their information. I got their name, their phone number, their email. I know they haven't signed anything with anybody, and I have it on my phone on this app. And I can build rapport with them. So I thought that was just super cool, as opposed to trying to get them to fill out a card. A lot of times when they do that, they'll put in fake phone numbers or whatever, you know what I mean? So anyway, it's called Curb Hero, and it's a free app. And you can also link it up with your lender. So that's what I got.
No, it's a great idea, Matt, and I like that. And thank you for sharing that app. I think you'll have a higher capture rate with the QR code. You can definitely do that. And you could even have different QR codes. Thinking of selling, scan this QR code. Thinking of buying.
Automatically, I don't know about this, but you guys can help. I thought you could have a QR code where just by them taking the picture of it with their phone, that do you get all their information?
Yeah, you get their info.
You do?
Yes.
You get their phone number?
Yes.
All right. Well, maybe Cameron can because that sounds better, frankly.
Yeah. Oh yeah. See, Renee's got it.
Yeah, but they still have to fill in their information though, right? Yeah. You don't automatically get their info.
They do, Matt. And I want to check out Curb Hero because I'm not aware of it yet. In COVID, in Florida, we were still permitted to do open houses. And we as a team pivoted directly to touchless check-in system. And many of our agents are still using a touchless check-in process, which is go ahead and text me your best email address. I have the information on 123 Banana Street, including all the specs, and I'll just text you back. Now I have a valid phone number.
That's great. Yeah.
And then, sorry, Matt, didn't mean to cut you off there, but to piggyback even off that, Renee, one of the biggest USPs that we have also is we can also provide you with the list of all the other open houses that are open today and the off-market properties that no one else knows about. So those are another great USP.
Right, and we can provide you a list of all the divorce situations, the estate sales, the pre-foreclosures, because a lot of times they're not receiving those lists. I think that's really important. Going from Matt, let's go over to the rows between all these thorns. We're going to go over to Renee Funk. She's going to bring her A game on open houses and not only capture, because it is important to capture, but it's also important to follow up. So the rows on our webinar today is Renee. Renee, what other tips can you give everybody out there to have a successful open house this weekend?
Pete, I'll send you a check later. Thank you. Could I start every meeting with being the rose? Thank you. Your check is in the mail. Let me see if I'm able to share my screen here real quick. Oh, it looks like I am. You guys rock.
There you go.
All right. Let's see, slideshow share. For those who were attending last week's mastermind, we took a pretty deep dive into different types of visitors, and we talked a lot about marketing. So if you haven't caught last week's mastermind, definitely do catch it because there was a lot of good nuggets. We went deeper into these 4 types. You probably remember me sharing that my favorite visitor type are the neighbors that are not in the market. Sometimes people call them looky-loos. We're going to do away with the looky-loo saying, and we're going to remember that the open house visitors, we know we're looking for a buyer and prospective buyers are the target. And yet when we're ambassadors in our community and we are investing in an open house, the true amazing contacts that are going to pay off dividends for years and years to come are that we're intentional about the neighbors who are visiting that are not in the market. So let's talk a look and go deeper into neighbors not in the market. After the open house, it's critical that we add them into our database. We want to add their name, email, phone number, and mailing address. Now, I know the agents will say to me, but Renee, I didn't get their mailing address yet. Here's the beauty of it. Call them up, right? Call them up. Thank them for visiting 123 Banana Street. You probably already used the video text strategy we talked about last week in the mastermind. So they're going to remember your face and who you are. In your database, add whatever the indicator is that you are postcarding these contacts moving forward. For us, we use Follow Up Boss, and we have a tag to which identifies anyone in our database that we're being intentional with all 4 of those data points: name, phone number, email, and mailing address. And these neighbors who are never going to move, they must receive postcards from you on a regular basis.
Renee, real fast, not to interrupt. What do you deem a regular basis? Expand on that.
Say it again.
What do you deem a regular basis?
Well, we treat visitors to open houses who are not in the market and neighbors just like we would treat a previous customer. So they get tagged into a system that's our previous customer sphere of influence 36 touch plan. And that postcard marketing is at least once a month. Often it's twice a month.
Can you share that plan in the chat? Do you have a PDF of it?
Pete, I love that. And I'd say in chat, if you want to go deeper into the 36 touch plan and you want us to include that in the mastermind, because it's its own workshop in and of itself,
sure.
I will share it all. Let's bring it to another mastermind. But it is a 36 touch plan that composes of mailbox, email box, social media, phone calls, video texts. It's across every platform.
I love it. That can be
this is what we do to make sure that our networks say, Pete, Renee, you're everywhere. Pete, Renee, are we everywhere? Or are we just everywhere they are?
Right.
So the neighbors who visit our open houses that are not yet in the market or saying, I'm never moving, they get included into that regular touch plan. We use AM cards. You can do handwritten cards or any of your favorite note card provider. And every visitor to an open house should have a handwritten or note card in their mailbox within days after the open house. Again, this is an item agents will typically roll their eyes at me and go, really, Renee? Really? When the field is thin, you want to operate where the field is thin because it amplifies your efforts and really makes you stand out as the ambassador of your neighborhood. Do they own currently? Typically they do. That's why they were in the neighborhood. So you want to send them one email per month with their home values. Whatever your favorite home value solution is, software program, HomeBot, it all works. Send one email per month based on their hyperlocal market. So they're getting updates from you once a month. And then of course, touch on social media. I want to touch on one more type to go a little bit deeper in because, and I'm happy to share these slides as well. When we have visitors with their realtor, oftentimes you're an agent hosting the open house as a complement to the listing agent. Please be this pro tip and go ahead and give that list of all the realtors who visited so that the listing agent can contact those agents and let them know your buyers stop by. This is another area that doesn't happen often, but we as listing agents, we love the camaraderie of our fellow agents letting us know that their buyers stop by with or without a realtor, right? This is another way we can build those relationship skills. I want to be cognizant of everybody else's time on this call. So I'm gonna stop there, but I will say this on that whole slide deck, I'll share it in Workplace, and anybody who wants to go deeper, I'm always open to do so.
I love it. Renee, that's awesome. Great stuff. I think Peter Funk has a good ring to it. I think I might change my name to Peter Funk.
Well, you know, we can just collaborate. We can keep collaborating.
I love it. Great stuff. I think that was super helpful. I love the pro tip. Because so many times people come into open houses where they either have a realtor that they're working with or the realtor actually comes and that agent gets their card or tries to get their info and then never passes it along. Says, oh yeah, 3 agents came in. One of their clients may be interested in writing an offer. I'm sure they'll reach out to you. Oh, who was it? Oh, it was Mike Smith over at ABC Realty, but I didn't get his number, you know, and then you're left trying to dig it up. So
what's one of the most important aspects of our role as realtors is the relationship we have with our fellow realtor.
Correct.
Right. And this is equals opportunity.
Yeah, that's why it's a cooperating agent, not an uncooperating agent. I want to go from Renee because she's awesome. And I'm going to go over to one of the thorns who's not a thorn, but he's a dynamite guy is my buddy Dave Lawson out of the luxury department in Park City. Dave has a rocking team in Park City, and look at, he even allowed Cameron to come in and park in his main lobby there. So dynamite. Dave, what else would you suggest on open houses and follow up and just piggyback what Renee said that people can utilize this weekend to have a higher capture rate, but also to have a better follow-up rate? Dave, you there? We can't hear you, but.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Pete. My internet went in and out, so it's going to be difficult. But as I started to talk a little bit last time, and then the call ended, basically, do you live in the area or are you looking to move in the area? My favorite question. All right. And then I always say, I don't like asking somebody if they have a realtor. Personally, what I do is I ask a question that said, Pete, has anybody ever sat down with you and explained the entire process of buying a property in today's market? And then when you ask that question, no matter if they answer, oh yeah, I have somebody, they've shown me property, whatever, then you can go that direction. The problem is you got to think about this. When people ask the question, do you have a realtor? When an agent does, you're confusing the client because they really don't know how to answer you. They don't understand like really what that question is. You know, oh, well, yeah,
Dave froze up. He does this at his open houses too, you guys. That's how he captures people's attention and really converts them. Every once in a while he freezes and they don't know what to make of it. Go ahead, Dave.
It's a pattern interrupt.
Sorry.
It's okay, go ahead. Dave, I was just telling everybody how great you are with your pauses in powerful conversations.
Cameron, why is he freezing up and you're not? And you're in
Because
the
he's
same
in
office.
he's in his multi-million-dollar home and I'm in his beautiful office here.
Okay.
Yeah, so go ahead, Pete. I'll talk more later. My internet's horrible right now.
I get it. Dave, put it in the chat. This is why I love Dave Lawson. He always has great lines. You know, do you currently live in the area? Or are you looking to move into the area? That's a great line. I love that. And I loved, has anybody ever explained to you how the process works in entirety right now in the marketplace, that we could sit down and do a strategy session? Would that benefit you and your family to be able to spend 30, 45 minutes, get all your questions answered so that you become a better buyer, right? In a sense. All right, I'm going to go from Dave over to Mitch Ribak, or Ribak. I always say Ribak. Ribak.
Everybody says Ribak.
He's fresh in from Indiana. He just got out of the cold. That's why he's wearing a white shirt, because he finally
This
started.
is actually a red shirt. It's still got snow on it.
Mitch, give
It was kind of
everybody
cool.
some tip.
I so wanted to go and do snow angels yesterday, but I just
Give everybody
I
some
mean-
tips on what you do when you do open houses to convert people, because I know you had a lot of success at open houses, and everybody who's out there wants that same type of success this weekend. So what do they need to do, and what points can you give them?
Sure. So I'm going to kind of go over a little bit of what I went over in a lot slower pace, because last week I was really in our thing in Orlando, Pete, with you, and I had minutes to get on. So I'm going to just hit on a couple of key points. One is I never ask, are they working with a realtor? I ask, which realtor in town are you working with? Gets a completely different response. That's probably my favorite thing that I figured out. I never advertise open houses. That's contrary to a lot of people on this call. I just put out lots of signs because I want to be able to leave. Because my goal of every open house, look, I'm actually talking slow. I'm blowing my mind here. My goal of every open house is to get one buyer. That's it. So what I learned, early on in my career, I would do 10 to 4 open house, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And somebody would come in at 10:30 and said, hey, I said, hey, do you want to look at property later on today? They're like, yeah, that'd be great. And then they never showed up and never responded. So I always pick 2 homes in the area that are vacant, get permission to show them all day long. And literally, after they look at the house, it goes sort of like this. I go, so Pete, so what do you think of the house?
Oh, it was nice, but it doesn't really work for us.
Is this the price range you're kind of looking for?
Yeah, that's our comfort zone. We're trying to stay in this price range, but we need a little bit bigger of a house.
I actually have 2 more homes around the corner, a little bit bigger. I think might fit this. Would you like to go take a quick look? I can pause my open house and take over real quick.
Yeah, I would love to. That would be awesome. You can do it right now?
I do it right now.
Oh, that'd be great.
All right. So what happens is 2 things happen. One, they're like, wow, this guy's doing this for us. That's pretty cool. I put a little be back in 30 minutes sign on my door. And my only mission now over the next 30 minutes is to get them to love me. And how do I get them to love me? I get them to love me by talking about everything except real estate. I talk about their family. I got a slide here on my thing. I want to make sure I talk about their family. I talk about their lifestyle. How many kids do they have? Do they have any sports? What do they do? Whatever it is, I'm trying to find that relatable thing between myself and them. But the only thing I'm trying to find out really is their buying time frame. So now I find out that they're buying now, right? So you're looking to buy now. You know what? You guys have been so much fun to hang out with. I'll tell you what. I don't really feel like doing an open house today. Let me close down my open house and let's go look at more property. 80% of the time they say yes. So 80% of the time I get them to the open house, and if it's the right one, they say yes because they want to look at more property. And once you spend a half hour with me, you're going to be in love with me anyways. Renee fell in love with me the first time we said hello. It's like,
No
So-
sign needed.
Yeah, Mitch,
Exactly.
I always tell you had me at hello. You know that.
Exactly. So So the key here is to build that rapport and get my one buyer. But I really want to talk about, so that's the basic gist. There's a lot more stuff involved, obviously, and I do have a webinar out there on mastering open houses if you want to check it out. But the one thing that I think is really important is understanding the results, because what happens is everybody wants instant gratification on everything that we do. Now it can happen. I mean, I sold my first house, my 5th day on the business, my first open house. But what I want you to understand is everything you do today is going to benefit you in 90 days. So how's that work from a numbers standpoint? And we just say this, we start in January and we do an open house every weekend, right? And I know you're going to get at least 2 buyers to every open house. So in a month, that's 8 buyers. By the way, the numbers right now are more than that, but I'm going to use very conservative numbers. So in a month, you have 8 buyers. I will guarantee you, I will even give you my dog, maybe my wife, not my dog. If I'm wrong, but there'll be 2 buyers, definitely buyers now out of those 8 people, right? 2. So that means in January, I have 2 buyers, right? Real buyers. In February, I have 2 buyers. April, the guy from January is going to buy. One of the guys. In May, one of the guys from January, the other guy from February is going to buy. And then you can create a consistent flow of business forever. With the exception of 2 months in 4 years, I had a sale every single month, always because of open houses. Even when I was selling 80 to 100 homes a year, I still did open houses, except instead of doing 6 houses, I did 4 houses. Now, the other question that comes up is, how do you tell the customer that you're gonna leave, right? Well, I'm gonna do an open house at your house tomorrow. It may only be an hour or 2. It might be longer. I got some other stuff going on in the afternoon, but I want to at least get your house open.
Or team up with a team member or somebody else and just switch on and off. You can play that.
And that's the other thing. You can always team up as a partnership with me. I didn't have that luxury because I didn't like anybody. So I did it by myself. So I would always just say it like that. I'd say, look, I'm going to come in for an hour or 2. And the worst case scenario is I'm there for an hour. And if nobody good came through, I'm there for 6 hours. But I always, my worst year was 24 sales from open houses. My best year was 28. So it's always in that range if you do this consistently. That's what we're all looking for, is consistent business, right? And the final thing I'll tell you about, the only way that they actually do this, I'm with Matt. I don't do anything. I didn't have the option back then. I would not do anything paper. Everything has to be. And Pete, I learned this from you, basically. You would like the listing? Here's the link. Would you like listings of all the homes in the neighborhood? Here's the link. Getting people to sign in, never had an issue. Every person that came into my open house signed in. And why was that? Mainly because of confidence. So if you go like, hey, would you mind signing in over there, please? They're not signing in. You say, to be fair, sign in over there. Everybody signs in. If they give you any pushback, it's a requirement of our brokerage that you sign in. And I can't let you in the house if you don't. It's a safety issue.
Yeah, that's a good point. I used to always say, and I would use Matt's line, I want to make sure that the sellers knew that I was there today and not surfing and not playing volleyball or something, and they're just requiring everybody to sign in, because you wouldn't want somebody to just walk in your house unannounced, right? So, but
What
if
happens
you
at
do
an
that, we
auto
can do that.
dealership, right?
Right.
Yeah, and the beauty of something like that Curb Hero or a QR code is that they're getting something. They want a flyer. They want all the details about the property. They want a list of all the other homes in the neighborhood, the market, etc. So they're not doing it for you. They're doing it for them, right?
Yeah, and I received that from Mitch. Mitch made a really good point in there, you guys. He always lines up a couple vacant homes in that area to show, right? Because if he doesn't show them, he's not offending anyone. If it's somebody that has a house on the market where people live there, they're running around and they're spending a few hours getting it ready. And if you don't show, that's going to compromise your professional standards. And we're all about professional standards. 100%. And you don't want to give yourself a bad name. So
yeah, and all you're doing is you're just calling that realtor, who the listing agent for the house, say, hey, can I have an open showing? Now, honestly, 6 months ago, this is really hard because the showings were booked hour now. It's easy. We're back to where open houses are the best free marketing tool you could possibly do to build your business. The one more thing I know I talked a little too long here, is every single person that comes in that open house, you set them up where they're getting new listings on the market, regardless if they ask for it or not. And that was a big key to me. So they'd get back, by the time they got home, they would have listing updates from the have set of properties that match their listings and new listing drips on them all the time. And they would call me back most of the time. I mean, I still called them, but they would call me back like, hey, you sent me this listing. But spend your time with the people that are buying today and then put everybody else on the drip campaign.
Yeah, and I just want to add one more thing to what Mitch just said, you guys. Be careful with the drips, because sometimes, depending on how you set it up, they'll get a drip every day, and it may solidify in that consumer's mind that houses are coming on every day, and they don't have to be in a hurry. You know, the goal is you want to create urgency, and you want to keep them updated and notified on what's happening. So maybe send the drip to yourself and then forward it on based on what's coming on the market. That's what I always do. So it's not where they're getting hit every single day with every property. I am, and I can look through it real fast. And if I want to forward it, I'll forward it. If not, I'll call them and say, hey, a great opportunity just came up. Where are you? I don't even ask them if they want to see it. I say, where are you? They're like, why? I say, you got to meet me there right now. We can't miss out on this opportunity, right? Otherwise, Cameron's not going to be able to ski in Park City. I got to get this house sold. That's it. So we can get him out of the avalanche of all the houses and snow falling on top of him. Let's go over to Cameron. Look at him. He's the only guy who looks like he belongs in Park City because he doesn't have a tan from Florida.
That's too funny. Good morning, everyone. So a couple things right off the bat. Mitch, I loved what you said where you had an objective to every one of your open houses. That is so important. You know, most of us, and I'll say this personally, that I went to open houses just waiting for the open house to end. So having intent of, I need one buyer, or I have a goal of one buyer. When you set a goal or you set an objective, you are going to accomplish that every single time. And if you don't, you're going to miss out on it. You just won't. And that's the way it happens. Now, what happens when you make the objective to wait until 3 p.m.? It happens at 3 p.m. We go home, no business happens. You made zero money. You didn't have an intent on why you're doing that open house. So I think that was extremely important. Renee, I loved how you were saying, you know, the thing that you were saying about stories and how one deal can churn into so much more. I want to tell a quick story before I get into my kind of teaching. One of the open houses I did for a beautiful home that we personally renovated down on Fort Myers Beach, $900,000 home, did an open house. I did them for about a week straight. On day 7, we had a buyer come in, super unconventional beach buyer. They didn't look nothing like beach people, but that's okay. We treated them all equally. You did the same thing. We had the sign-in sheets. Ended up, they bought it. But before they did, they had to list their $1.2 million beachfront cottage. So we listed that, sold it, then sold them their home. Now, 2 years later, 24 months later, that $859,000 home that we sold them is now 2.4 because God bless this market. We sold that for them and they bought up into a 2.5 beachfront McMansion. So one open house there, you guys, has transformed into almost $8 million in sales for us. It's worth it. These work. Now, remember, one of the things I've been talking with, because I've been here with David Lawson's amazing team, is how open houses can be challenging in certain markets if you're not, you know, this is obviously a vacation market. Lots of people aren't always here. So how do you find open houses? And that's kind of what I wanted to kind of talk about this morning is where do you find open houses if you don't have a surplus of listings, right? I know a lot of agents that aren't selling 60, 70, 80, 100 homes a year. If they have one listing at each time, that's awesome for them. So where do you find other ones? The best thing I can tell you guys is to get onto Workplace. If you are here at EXP, Workplace is so valuable. You're able to find so many listings and so many agents that need help, that don't have their teams fully built out, that can use you to have their home opened. I think, Renee, you were saying we consider it hosting. Right?
Yes.
So
Yep.
it's hosting. So you can host it now. So say you're not with EXP, you don't have Workplace yet because you haven't joined one of their amazing groups. You can always host open houses for other companies as well. So keep that in mind. Now make sure that your brokerage is okay with that. But if you're unable to get in with us or you're not able to connect with one of us at EXP yet, you can hold an open house at a different brokerage if that's something that you're trying to do. Now, the last thing I wanted to kind of present here is you can partner with someone. Now, Mitch, like you said, you didn't like anybody. I get that. I'm kind of the same way. So I like doing the kind of the solo open house as well when I was doing them. But say someone else is doing an open house and they're doing it solo. We'll reach out to them and say, hey, I see that you're doing it solo. Would you mind if I, partnered with you and we could do it together? And maybe if someone wanted to go see another home, I could help them. You can figure it out, you guys. And that's kind of what I really wanted to bring up is there's many other ways to find open houses than simply just doing a open house on your listings, right? Regarding the signs, this is something that's it's kind of comical because it's so debatable. How many signs do you use? The more signs, the better, in my opinion. 50. I know Renee says 50. The more signs, the better. The more that you want to look at those. I love those signs, Renee. The more signs, the better, because it makes you seem like you are everywhere. Now, one house with 50 signs looks like 50 homes that are all open. They're all over the neighborhood. Every single neighborhood or every single neighbor is driving by them. And that is extremely valuable, you guys, because your brand and your business is going to continue to grow. And it's simple as putting out more signs. How simple is that? Now, regarding marketing and on all the different cooperation sites like Zillow and Realtor.com, I recommend that you split test it, right? Well, why not do both? One weekend, do an open house. Don't do any advertising. Just do 50 open house signs. See how it goes. The next weekend, blast it out to all those websites. Do it on TikTok. Do it on Instagram. Do it on Facebook, and see how many people you get. Every market's different. So, Mitch, like you were saying, maybe up in the Space Coast, it's more hyper local, and having all those signs drives more people. I think having every market's different, and you kind of got to adapt to that. The last thing I want to talk about.
Hey, Cameron, just one thing on that. So the only reason why I don't advertise is so I can leave.
That's great. Yeah, makes sense. That totally makes sense.
If I advertise, I can't leave. And that was my purpose. I always advertised until I realized I couldn't leave. And if I can't leave, I can't solidify that one buyer. Purpose.
That's a great point. And guys, I think that's really important, that you have to have your objective. And if your objective is to get one buyer, which it really should be, that's the only point there, is to try to get one buyer and one sale. Anything more than that, I think you're being a little bit greedy, to be honest. It's great to have multiple buyers and multiple leads come in that possibly purchase in the future. But if you can solidify one solid buyer that's going to purchase in the next 30 days, you need to almost stop everything that you're doing, because that is the biggest money-making activity that you can spend your time on. Last thing, you guys, and this is the most important part that we started doing many, many years ago, and that's using an iPad security stand. I'm going to link it here in chat. And all it is a big, heavy iPad stand that you put your iPad into. And then what you obviously do on your iPad is you're going to have the open house app. So obviously Curb Appeal, I believe, Curb Hero, I'm sorry. That is some type of an open house app. I know KV Core uses Core Open Houses. Another way that it just makes it so when people walk in the door, you're going to have this big 6 foot or 4 foot stand with an iPad that says sign in. The home's got a big, pretty photo. What we found is that because people are ingrained that when they see technology, they need to do it. It's instead of asking, we just stopped asking. We have the sign in the front door. They walk in, it says sign in, they sign in. And because it's asking for name, phone number, and email address, people believe they have to enter correct information because they think it's going to scan, or they think that it's going to check. So they start putting in their real information versus there was so many open house sheets that I had where people would fill out, 239, that's our area code, 239-599-16. What is that? You can't even read the number. You couldn't read the name. With the open house tool, it's all digital. There's no trying to figure out the digits, numbers, any of that stuff. And putting it on the stand, you guys, was so important because it alleviated, or it just completely removed having to ask for people to sign in. They just automatically did it 100% of the time. And the results were really good. So I recommend everyone look into that.
What kind of stand is it, Cameron? Is it a stand for an iPad or something?
Yeah, they're iPad. They're called security stands, anti-theft stands. I posted a link there in chat, but they are
cool, Cameron.
They're really nice, you guys, and they're heavy. But again, that makes it just look serious. And you just you put it 4 feet, 6 feet in front of the door when they walk in, and people are going to see it. And just the human nature is they know they have to sign in. They've been to open houses that ask them to sign in. The sign-in sheet's there. Boom, they put all their stuff in, and then guess what, guys? They automatically sends them a list of all the property info because that's part of the app. It sends them a list of about myself. It alerts me on my phone so I can reach out to them with a video text as soon as they leave. It does so many things automatically. It puts them in the drip if you have it set up that way. There's so many different things that you can do with the app. Diane, I seen the question there. The app that we're using is Core Open Houses. It integrates with KV Core. It's their open house tool. Now, most CRMs are going to have their own open house tool. I know Boomtown uses, I think, Open House. I know all the different CRMs kind of have their own open house tool. And then like Matt was saying, Curb Hero sounds like it's completely third party, so anyone can use it.
Cameron, that was such great advice that you just gave. And when you're talking about partnering up with other agents, if you're an agent seeking to help a listing agent, just offer to put the signs up, offer to help set up I promise you, no listing agent is going to turn down your help, right? And then that gives you the foot in the door. And then the other thing, Cameron, you just shared is you were talking about testing different ways, test Mitch's strategy, test, broadcasting it everywhere, test being a little more subdued, also test day and time. We nudge the agents to be really intentional and think, is this a listing that's located downtown Windermere right next to the food truck Friday event? Well, then the open house should probably be Friday night from 5 to 8, right? And so really start to nudge each other to think what could be a good strategy around the particulars of each listing.
I love that. I love that. Yes. If you are not going to be doing open houses at your own listings. So obviously if they are your listings, you want to be showing that your sellers, you're doing what you want to, you're saying you're doing. But if you are going to be partnering with them, I will tell you to be more selective, right? You are going to be helping the other agent. You are an asset to that other agent. So you be a little bit more selective and walk in with confidence. You are there to help them and you are going to help them, but it also benefits you obviously by allowing you to acquire buyers. So I love that. I think it's really important, the partnership. The more you can partner with agents around you inside the company and outside the company will move you forward, move your business forward. And it's not hard, you guys. You just got to have a little bit of confidence. You got to get outside that comfort zone, right? That comfort box. I think we all remember those. And then try it once, it'll work. And then you'll never have another problem with it again. And you'll be ahead of 99% of the other agents that are still afraid to take that first step.
Hey, Cam, follow-up question. So when do you start planning out your open houses? What day?
For our listings, we always take our listings and put them live on Wednesday. And then Thursday, Friday, we do our marketing. What was your question one more time, Pete? I'm sorry.
So when you're planning out an open house, whether it's for your listing or somebody else's listing, when does that start? What day of the week?
We have all of our planning on Monday. So everything that we're doing for the following week, it's planned on Monday. And then it's just set in place. If we try to make stuff up as it goes, you'd just lose track. So you have to have your time blocking, you have to have your time management. We do all that on Monday. Obviously, like I said, listings go live Wednesday, then we market them Thursday, open house Friday, Saturday, Sunday, blah, blah, blah.
Great. That's what I wanted. It was a loaded question. If you're starting your open house planning on Thursday or Friday, you're way, way behind the curve. You're going to miss the whole boat. You're going to miss the ability to get it out there and market it on social media and bring attention to it. You have to plan out where you're going to put the signs. The more signs you put out, what we learned in California was for every 5 signs I put out, 1 person came through the open house on average. So the more signs, the better. We like to try to get them out at 7 or 8 in the morning. We just don't put the signs up in front of the house at that time, or we put a sign on the door saying, this is what time the open house is.
One more quick thing before we go there, guys. If you're doing 50 signs, right, or doing 30, 40, 50 signs, you can have 3 or 4 open houses in that same neighborhood, and they're at different times. So do a 1-hour open house with 3 different homes in the same neighborhood. Have the 50 signs out. You're going to attract all those people. And from 10 to 11, you do one house. 11 to 12, you do the next house. And you're going to have just a rush at every single one of them because people know when they open up. They see, they know. People are looking, especially if you're advertising it. Last thing there, Pete, with the scheduling, and this is kind of off topic of open houses, but you guys, the farther ahead that you can get scheduled, the more organized that you can be. I mean, we have a 365-day calendar that I'm working on that has every single day that you can mark what you're going to do. The more you can be planned, the more you can be organized, the more structured you are, the more success you're going to have with all of this, you guys, just because you're going to be able to then go on to the next step once you do acquire the leads, which is obviously the most important part, which is follow-up.
Love that. I love that. Great tips, great advice. Now I know why you have so much success on open houses, because you're prepared to win. And that's what we need to do. There was a few questions inside the chat, people asking where to get signs, how many signs to put up, should they customize the signs with the address of the actual open house? I mean, I never have. I know a lot of the people probably on this call haven't, or on the Zoom. I think you want to be able to repurpose your signs, and by doing that, it's kind of a one-off. But it's a great question. I use Sign King. I use Signs Done Fast in San Diego to get my signs. I mean, there's a lot of national providers too. I know EXP has some national providers. Go ahead, Cameron.
One last thing, guys. If you brand your signs, you're going to have a lot less people steal them. I will tell you, if I put out 50 open house signs that are just the generic open house signs, when I go pick them up, I'll have 15 less. They just, I don't know where they go.
I have the other problem. I sign all my signs and they still steal them. They're like collector's editions or something, right? They love to steal
Cameron,
my signs.
Pete, why don't we nudge agents though? If they're not branding signs, save the money, don't put up signs. Like, seriously, if you're not branding signs,
Right.
my question to everybody would be, why use signs?
Well,
Right.
well, hold on now. With that said, I love this. I love this. Let's have a little bit of back and forth here. I do know that we've had a lot of success with no advertising, or that, I love that. No advertising and people driving by the signs coming. And I know even if you have advertising, it's even better. But I will say for a lot of agents, maybe that aren't ready to put in the order for their own signs, if they do have just open house signs, you will get activity just by people driving by them. So I think you absolutely do have to have signs, branded or not. But I do think having branded signs is significantly better because you're building brand recognition, you guys. That's what you're going to build your
You
business
should
on in the
always
future.
You can't be, we're not secret agents. We're not in the CIA. We're not in the NSA. You want to be known, and branding is the greatest thing on open houses, you guys, because you can create the perception that you're bigger than you are. Consumers don't know the difference between a open house sign, a for sale sign, a sold sign, a bus bench, a billboard. Maybe if Matt's face is on the billboard because he's not bragging, he's just applying for a job. But the thing is that you want to have where the consumer sees repetition of your signage in certain areas that you're focusing on, so that you are looked at as that area expert, because that's what people want to work with, is the area expert that is going to find me an opportunity that nobody else can find me, that can save my family or myself a lot of money in investing in real estate or buying my house. So I think that's a big thing. I want to go from Cameron over to the real estate opportunity guy, otherwise known as the ROG. That's my brother in Philly. I'm sure he's going to give us some great tips on open houses. The ROG, look, he's got his branding and everything. That's what I'm talking about. Everything should be branded so that it's repetition. And that's how people remember who you are. It's called the reticular activator in your mind. And that's how your brain works, okay? Because we remember usually 2 brands, that's it. So you have to be one of those 2 brands. And we'll do a whole mastermind on branding and marketing and follow up and all that stuff. But the real estate opportunity guy, here's my question for you. When you do open houses, how is it set up? Do you have food? Because you're in Philly, everybody likes food. Are you serving Philly cheesesteaks? Because I'm going to come to the open house this weekend if you are. What do you do to really get people to the threshold, across the threshold, and to build that relationship so that you're the clear choice to work with in that neighborhood?
One of the things, and let me tell you something, the information that came out of this has got me excited to actually, be honest, go back to doing open houses because I want to have some fun with it. Because you know what I mean? We all get stagnant in where we're doing, but we also can't help unless we're doing what everybody else is doing. So as we're teaching, we're also learning, and we're actually reinventing. So I'm actually excited to use some of these new tools that were just shared today to see how they affect it in my marketplace, because my marketplace is different. So we have the cold. It's kind of like where, David is also in the cold. You don't sometimes get out. We've got the Eagles still playing. Sorry, everybody. So not a lot of people are going to be out on Sunday. They're going to be watching the Eagles game. So right after that Super Bowl, people might be out. So I'm excited to start trying that. But as far as food, we don't do a lot except on our new construction. The new constructions, we usually do things like that because we call them muddy boot tours. We make sure they bring their boots. We have fun with it. It's when the house is being constructed before it's pretty. So at those, we usually do have hot dogs in a crock pot. We have stuff like that is not difficult to do and things of that nature. Mitch mentioned it the other day. If the owner will let you bake cookies in the oven while you're doing it, bake cookies in their oven. That would be awesome as an idea. But I'll be honest, I don't do a lot of the food. We have water, we have stuff like that, but I give things away. I give ice cream scoopers away. I give coupons away to other stores in the area that are like a free ice cream cone. So I give those things away to try to win myself over instead of other agents of being like different. That's what I do. There's nothing really that I do there other than just try to be me and be you. Don't be somebody else. Don't be fake and just be you, and people magnetize to it. So.
Yeah, and be excited and know the data and know what's happening in the marketplace and listen and ask open-ended questions to them and how you can help them. You're there to service and help them. You're not going to service and help everyone, but the goal is to create a relationship and connect with them so that you're the clear choice that they want to work. People work with people they like, right?
One of the great
That's
things I
it.
learned when I was early in the business too, and in doing open houses. First question, I think somebody mentioned earlier, write this down, everybody. It says, so what brought you out here today? Just ask the question, not why are you at this house? Are you buying? What brought you out here today? It's an open-ended question and it's not steering them anywhere. They might just say, oh, we're a neighbor. Great, then you go this path. But by opening that question up, it's so broad, they can't duck and hide behind it. Just keep it broad and they can't duck and hide.
I'd be curious, what's everyone's first question they recommend is asked? Craig, because you're spot on.
That's mine is, what brought you out here today?
Mine is, where'd you travel from today?
There you go.
I
How long
love
are you
that.
guys in town? Or finds how long are you guys in town, or how long have you guys been in town? Because it's all vacation mostly.
I always say where you're from. So same thing. This Renee.
I love that. Where are you from? I like Dave's. Do you live in the area or are you looking to move into the area?
Good stuff.
Dennis, what's your first question?
I don't ask any questions.
Yeah.
Not
What's
upfront.
your
So I
first
get
thing you say?
I get their information. I can go over. Pete, you want me to go now?
Yeah, I want you to go next.
Okay, so we use a couple housekeeping things, guys. So number one, you want to take the flyers out of the flyer box on the sign in the yard. Okay? Because what they'll do is they'll come to the open house. A lot of times they'll take the flyer out of the box and then they'll drive away and you don't get them. So this is just housekeeping 101. So take the flyers out of there, take the flyers off the counter right when they walk in. So usually what I do is I'll set up, we use these old school things. Please sign up to win one of two $100 Nordstrom gift certificates. It's not every open house, it's once a year we give away two $100 gift certificates, okay? So it gets them to sign in. We use one of these cards like this. And what we do is we do a grading system. Once we get them in, I'll digress a little bit. We do A+, C, D, E, F. C's and D's and E's and F's, we just chuck them, okay? On the back, we write notes like crazy. Pulled up in a Porsche, pulled up in a minivan, whatever it is. Came in with 2 kids from Oklahoma, whatever the case is. We always write that in the back because what we do is we end up stacking 50 of these cards and you forget who's who, right? Okay, so that's our grading system. The A's go to the top, below they go below. So when people first come into the open house, we have these signs out here, these sign up cards, and we basically say we hide the property flyers in the kitchen cabinet behind me. And when people walk in, we say, "Hey, nice to meet you. What's your name, Pete? Pete, do me a
Yes.
favor. The seller asked for everybody to sign in here, and while you're doing that, I'll go grab you information on the home." And I turn
Okay.
my back and I walk away from them.
So
Okay?
I'm just going to give you my name. I don't like to give out my other information.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, just write down your name here, okay? And then I'll grab some flyers for you, okay? And just let them sit there for a minute or two. I'll go grab the flyer, give it to them, and if I see that they didn't give me their name and email, I know I got some more work to do after they leave, okay? And here's the big question you guys all need to ask yourself. Why would they work with you over anybody else? Think about that for a minute. Why would they work with you over anybody else? This applies to your relationships, it applies to your business, all of this, right? So you have to have something unique that they want. And what does everybody want these days? What does every buyer want? They want a deal.
Homes.
They want a deal,
Yeah.
right? So you have to really be able to articulate old Craig Proctor kind of stuff, good deal. So how do we get good deals? We have off-market properties. So what we basically say is, hey, hey, Matt, you're looking in Pacific Beach, fantastic. Matt, I don't know if you know or not, but we kind of studied what all the flippers and people like that do, and we discovered how they find off-market properties. Are you looking at Pacific Beach? Are you considering any other areas as well? Well, we're considering La Jolla, Claremont, Pacific Beach. Okay, great. Matt, if I found you one of those off-market properties, kind of the ones that the flippers find, would you want me to let you know about that?
Yeah.
Every single freaking person says yes to that. Fantastic, Matt. Oh, let me see. How do I contact you? I'll shoot you a text with the address once I find one. Why don't you jot down your text number right here? And that's it. That's how I get their information. So, always remember that you have to have something unique that nobody else has. Otherwise, why would they use you over anybody else? So wave that carrot. You need a carrot always. Okay. Other thing we do is we don't do the open house from 1 to 4, the chicken shit way. We do them from 10 to 5. Because you're going to get the same amount of people, guys, whether it's 1 to 4 or 10 to 5, you're going to get a certain amount of people per hour. So if you're putting out 30 signs, which we do, why would you limit yourself to 3 hours? Turn it into a recruiting day. Like where else can you sit, you guys, and sit in the home, watch TV, and have buyers and sellers walk in to meet you? I don't know. If you can find a better way, tell me, but that's why open houses are fantastic. So let's see what else.
They're free. And they're free.
And they're free. Here in San Diego, when we put the open house in the MLS, it automatically populates to Zillow. So it shows that they're going to have an open house at a certain time. So remember to do that. This is just basic housekeeping. Yeah, I think that's all I have. We use these signs right here, which I need to add some verbiage. So don't use these without first checking your state regulations, okay? As Renee pointed out. But this I got from Brent Gove, okay? These are really cheap corrugated signs. They're $1 each or $2 each. Best Buy, open house, free list of area homes, okay? So the reason why that works is there's two schools. Pete's the king of
Dennis, hold that up
marketing.
again. I want to take a picture.
Yeah, Pete's the king of branded marketing. I'm the king of under the radar marketing. Nobody knows who I am, but I've sold 2,000 houses. So, which is okay. Okay. So there's two different frames of thoughts. I like generating leads. Mitch Ribak told me years ago, he showed me how to generate internet leads. And the way Mitch taught me and the way Craig Proctor taught me was fly under the radar, right? So, you don't want your name plastered because they're less likely to sign up on your website if you got realtor, your name and all that stuff on there. Your conversion rate just goes down. It's just basic math. So same kind of principle we do with open houses. So.
Love it. Great stuff. And, Dennis is sincere, you guys. When he does his open houses, he does not just give them the information. See, because him and I discussed that. When you give somebody a flyer on the open house without getting any of their information, they already won. And I'm not saying that there's winners and losers, but when it comes to capturing or creating relationships with future buyers or future sellers, you don't want to give up all the information until you get something. And a lot of times, if you hand it to them, they completely tune you out because they cannot multitask. They're going to read the flyer. They're going to look at the flyer. They're not going to pay attention to what you're saying. And you want to be more engaged and interactive where you're saying to them, hey, let me explain some of the finer points of this house or things that you may not realize, and really show the house and show all the positives on the house. I mean, I've gone into open houses and even agents have asked me, so why are you here? And I said, well, because I'm looking at the house. What's the price? And they say, well, you tell me. I say, this is the wrong person to ask to tell you the price. Oh, well, tell me what you would buy it for. I said, no joking aside. What is the price? What are you guys asking? Oh, look at the house and I'll tell you at the end. No, because right there, you're alienating me. And I feel like you're hiding something. So you have to be aware of that. I know Kim's dying to jump in. Go ahead, Kim.
Pete, that was so valuable what you just said there, buddy. I mean, that was just absolute gold, where if you guys want to have a really, really just mind-boggling weekend, go to a couple other agents' open houses and see what they're doing. And you will see not only how good some people can be, but how bad they can be. And it'll give you a great idea on the things that you should be doing, the things that you shouldn't be doing. Remember, you walk into these open houses, for most of everyone here, they don't know who you are. They don't care who you are. The agent's going to be probably, this is their first year, their first open house she's ever done or he's ever done. So go in there, see what they're doing. Again, this is split testing. You are learning, you are seeing what others are doing. And then, bring that into what you're doing. If you find something, you walk in and some guy says something that like you go, wow, I want to buy this house now. Do that on all your homes. And the reaction will be the exact same. So I absolutely love that. And I wanted just to reiterate, it's so important to see what others are doing.
You guys ask open-ended questions. Find out what's important to them. What's their comfort zone price-wise? Not what price are you willing to pay or what price are you trying to stay in? What's your comfort zone? price-wise. It's a better way to formulate that question and ask them what's really important to them. If somebody tells me in a luxury house that what's super important to them is a killer view, where do you think I'm going to end the tour of that house? With the killer view, because I listen, and I'm going to ask other questions to them, which are, buyer questions or qualifying questions in front of the view, where they can't take their eyes off the view, because it sends a subliminal message that you're listening and you've listened to what they said. We are an industry of really bad listeners, and there's a lot of power in listening instead of talking. And if you just make it all about them, where did they grow up? How did they end up in San Diego? What's important to them? Where do they live now? How could you help them? How could you make this the biggest win of their life? Ask them certain questions. Say, I'd really love to help you and guide you through it. I want to hold your hand all the way through this. We're going to work as a team. Do the assumption close. And if you're in a house that is multi-level, have all the materials hidden away, but have the sign in where the best spot is at the end, because that's where they're going to gravitate to. You don't have it on the first floor. When they walk in, they walk right by it and nobody's there unless you're introducing them to the house. You have to be very strategic, because I see so many people, oh, nobody signed up for my open house. Listen, Mitch taught me this. If you have an open house Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and your goal is to get one buyer who's going to buy in the next 60 days, that's 4 buyers a week. That's 16 buyers a month that are going to buy within the next 90 days. I call that HCP, right? The ROG loves when I have acronyms. HCP. That's called high class problems. All right. Because you're going to convert those people if you stay on top of them and you bring value, like Dennis said. And I got that one from Dennis. Oh, is the person that you're working with right now, I don't like to step on anybody's toes, are they supplying all the divorce lists to you? No. Are they supplying the pre-foreclosure list to you? No. Are they supplying the flipper and investor list to you? No. How about the estate list? No. How about the probate list? No. How about the bank foreclosure list? No. How about the off-market list of all the best homes that are flying off the shelves before they hit the market? No. So if I was able to supply that to you and make it easier for you and your family to win and take, make it a huge benefit and take advantage of this opportunity right now or this market, is that something that you would be interested in? Is that what you had in mind? Those are closing questions. And then I get their permission. So if I hear you correctly, Cameron, if I found an unbelievable opportunity that would really benefit you and your family, and I don't know if it's possible, I'm learning with you guys what you're looking for, but if I was able to find that, would you have an issue buying it from me?
No, of course not. I mean, we'd be happy to work with anyone if they could find us that perfect property. We're not loyal. I mean, and we all know this, Pete. Let's be honest. They're not loyal.
No, they're
we're
not.
loyal.
Yeah, something, Cameron. I'm just like you. I get it.
We just want the best property for my kids, my family. Yeah. I just want the best opportunity.
And I want to create a relationship where I bring you the best opportunities and we take advantage of them and we get them for a price that I would pay for the house. Is that what you had in mind?
Yeah, that sounds good. I like it. Sounds good.
Yeah, that's what I specialize in doing. Putting people in winning positions.
And what that does, and I know we're running out of time here, but that creates doubt, or it creates questions that they're going to get in their car, husband and wife, they're going to talk about it, and then they're going to drive for 30 minutes, and their whole time they're going to go, why are we not receiving these lists from our agent? Why are we not receiving this? Why is our agent not as qualified as Pete? And Pete, that's why you're the expert, and that's amazing stuff.
So you guys, you get to that point, you have to practice those scripts. Dave's got some dynamite scripts. Mitch has scripts. Renee has all types of stuff. She's a rock star, and that's why she's the Rose, the rock star Rose. I'm going to get a shirt made for her that says that. Look at it. She has all types of stuff. There it is. Exactly what to say. It's a great, great book. And they have exactly what to say for real estate. I think that's the one. I sent that to Dave.
If this is not within arm's length of every realtor, the realtors are missing out. This is always within arm's length at any given time, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
There it is, you guys. Exactly what to say for realtors. It's on Amazon. It costs $9.95. I have no affiliation with it. I'm giving it the pitch because I bought all of my key people that book. Matt, did you get one of those books?
best book I've ever read for salespeople or for realtors.
It also.
By the
applies to
way,
being
there's
a parent
also-
or a
he also
spouse
has
or a
this book.
human.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
what to say, magic words. Matt, did you receive that book this year?
I did. Thank you very much.
And
Listen, you guys, we're all
just
in
for
this
kicks
together.
and giggles, this one too.
Look at, you think Renee's an overachiever? She's got every book under the sun, but that's how you learn. That's how you grow. Go ahead, Cam.
If you don't have these books next to you guys, it's something very important here. Look at us. We're here. We're on the panel because we're reading, we're indulging, we are becoming the expert. And if you're not doing that, you need to really focus, make the intent, be the expert, buy these books and make yourself the expert in your area, guys. That's how you're going to dominate, especially when the market slows down. Renee has it. David has it. I have it at home. We all are doing the same stuff. You need to get on board so we can all flourish together.
Listen,
read it in 2
everybody, great
hours.
stuff today. Go ahead, Matt. You're muted.
Yeah, I got to sign off. I was just saying thank you. One thing I am going to do though, guys, is I'm going to post in the chat. If you are trying to get open houses, actually, I think Renee's is the best. Tell agents you'll put signs out for them. You know what I mean? I think that's great. But I also have a text that I'm going to copy into the chat really quick here, which is a combination of multiple text messages I've gotten from different agents asking if they could do open houses. And so I put this one together. If you send this to an agent about doing an open house for them and say you're going to do all this stuff, this is so professional. Let's see here.
We got 1 minute.
Yep, here we go. There you go. Anyway, check that out because I think that's really, really good. It's got some other stuff in there, but
There you go. That's it. And you know something, you guys leverage our names too if you need it, if we're in your marketplace.
We're all here for
in
you.
it together. All right. So join us next week. We're gonna have another great topic. You guys, gold today. Gold. Awesome.
Hold on.
Oh.
That didn't go out to everyone. Okay, I just reposted it. Matt, I just reposted it for you just so that everyone's seen it.
okay.
Just give it a second so everyone can read it before we log off, if you don't mind.
Okay. No worries.
Cool.
If you
That was
have to,
awesome, guys.
copy-
And then do we know what the subject is next week?
Yes, we do. We do. And I will text it to everybody in our group chat.
Excellent.
Perfect.
You guys join us next week for some great tips. That was gold today. You can utilize this weekend to have a lot of success. But listen, you have to take action. You have to do it. You can't just, wish it. Wishes don't happen. Take action and do it. Just go do it. That's why I love Nike. Just do it. Talk to you soon.
See you guys.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.